Good evening, good afternoon, guys. Yeah, I told you I'd touch base back next day after obviously I've now raised a glass to my father's memory and also on my release. So yeah, here we are, guys. Deja vu. But serious note, I had a long think and long deep times when I was banged up as well. Obviously, turn a new leaf and what have you. Yeah, I'm just gonna crack on with the positivity and sportsmanship side of things and keep me down, stay out of trouble. And yeah, got work as you know. I've got obviously ties with some of the shops, and obviously I'm looking at going into other different businesses. Like I've been looking at personally like going into skip businesses and yeah, just nice legitimate money, nice legitimate head down, just crack on with it. We're gonna get back cracking in the morning. About 6 o'clock in the morning I'll get on a run, because when I was locked up I was getting up at like, I don't think it was early as 6, so I was up about 7, but I was flat out, I was training every day. But yeah, you know, you said when you're in there's only so much you can do, because it's all right getting your tuners and all that off the menu and on the canteens and what have you. They're the only like really proper good foods you can get, because when you're getting these chickens and what have you on Sundays, they're not really like chickens. I call them more like pigeons. It's just all processed food, it's crap, and you can't really get into the swing of things. And that's why you usually get most lads when they're in jail just smash out the weights and they all come out big hench dudes. Like most lifers in lifers jail are usually massive, just great big units of men, because it's hard for the fitness side. Because if you're getting that exercise once a day, fair enough. I was jogging around the exercise yard every day and doing the circuits on it, but you need to be eating right. You need to be obviously in the boxing gym if you're gonna fight, because you can be as fit and as strong as you want, but if you're not getting no sparring or getting no hard tactics in and sharpening your tools and learning the trade, then yeah, it's obvious someone will end up coming and picking you apart. So on a professional side of things, I'm gonna get up tomorrow morning, get back at it. Yeah, that's it. But I know a lot of you are asking the full story now. What's gone off with inside the full story? Is it true? Was Decca really a nonce? Was he not a nonce? What wing was he on? Was it a nonce wing? Was it a cons wing? I know you've all been feeding them questions, and I know you've all been eager to wanting to know the full crack with everything. Yeah, right. I'm looking at you straight in the camera, straight down the line. I'll tell you the full story to everything what happens, yeah. And my opinion, if he's a bacon or if he's not a bacon, right? Without me being two-faced, because there was at one stage when I did come across him in the jail, and he actually come across half alright, you know what I mean? He actually come across an half alright guy, but master manipulators do that, don't they? But yeah, anyway, so I'll cut long story short. While I've been on remand, I've been on remand. They've ended up putting me onto D-wing, because in Hull jail, if anyone knows and can back my story up and verify everyone what's been there, your two induction wings, yeah, is usually G and H wing before they move you over to what's called the other side in Hull jail. Now the other side is B, C and D. They're like where you get your most, you know what I mean, your boisterous, your problems, your proper criminals, your jack the lads. Yeah, usually on the G and H wing, it's the only jail that I know in the country with Hull jail where they mix the paedophiles openly with you on the wing. And everyone can back me up on this. So when I come into a Hull jail, what they do is when I get put on the induction wing, I've got to stay behind my door while they bring my food and then get me off to either B, C or D wing the next day, due to the attacks what I've given on sex offenders in prison. Because I'm deemed as high risk single cell. I've been single cell since I started up at 18. But a long story short, and this is straight down the line. When I was on D wing, I was on there for about 6 months, and to be fair with you, I had about, obviously I had to touch a few people in there. Do you know what I mean? Because just who I am and whatever, and the name follows and reputation follows, and you've always got someone who, there's always a suicide fighter and there's always a have a go hero. So you got to put them out before they put you out, and that's common sense. So, bare names to mention. But in total, tallying it up, I think I licked about 11 man up on this stretch. But yeah, to be fair with you, I can't say it were 11 fights, because it wasn't 11 fights. I just got stuck into them, and in jail you can put people away early. People know that. Very rare you're going to see a fight in jail anyway go past more than a minute or 2 minutes anyway, because obviously if you're on sighting people, then obviously the screws are going to be on you within like 2 minutes anyway. On site, definition for on site is means wherever you see one, whether it's on, that means visits anywhere, libraries, chapels. But even though I don't agree with that, when I've had fights before outside chapels, I've always made sure I've cracked them before going into church. I don't, for you can't desecrate a church in my eyes. If you did, then obviously it's bad karma, and obviously it's up to God to forgive you. Even though there is a lot of times I've been sat there in chapel when lads have pulled out shanks and started stabbing other people when they've been in chapels and fighting, but I just think that's totally disrespectful if you ask me. So you can't sit on both sides of the fence, you know what I mean? You're either a religious fella or you're not. And listen, I won't blow smoke up in anyone's ass, you know what I mean? Probably I need forgiveness more than anyone, and I repent my sins, and I'm giving it a real good break, and yeah, if people can give me another chance, and yeah, that's great. I won't bore you with the basics why I was locked up, but basically, long story short, on the grapevine, the judge and the prosecution said I was targeting high-level drug dealers and extorting them for money and blackmailing them and all that kind of crap. But it don't matter anyway. They said, so basically, like when Brian Cockrell said the tax man, that's what they've said to me. I was using vigilantism by seeking out high-level drug dealers and making them pay me tens of thousands of pounds and 50,000 pounds and what have you. So, but it wasn't proven in court. I ended up taking a deal and for an harassment instead, which were an immediate time served. Otherwise, the judge said he'd give me 6 years for blackmail, demanding money with menace, and extortion. But the people it was on admitted that there was involved in drug crimes and drugs, but you can't excuse one crime for another crime, if you know what I mean. So say like if you knew where there was a big grow in someone's house with 50 or 60 plants in or whatever, and you ran in, they end up taking a bit of a good hiding and what have you, and you rob them plants, then you're still getting done for aggravated burglary anyway. It don't matter if they're selling drugs or not. They'll knock out that little crime to do you for the bigger crime. So that's how they've done me, really. And that's no shit talk. I've got no point to prove. Everyone else tell you the same. That's what I said I would do. That's what they said I was doing, targeting people in the underside areas. Yeah, extorting and blackmailing serious drug dealers. Now, long story short, anyway, that's all I'll say on that, because I think when you've done your time, that's it. You put it behind you, that's that. And yeah, we move on. So, but yeah, but apart from when I was on D-Wing, I was a PID worker, and for a few months of my sentence, I kind of like took a new leaf, and I become the wing rep, also known as a PID worker, where you wear the red jumper, You only get one PID worker on a wing. That's like the wing rep. You make sure the wing's running smooth. You make sure everyone gets everything what they're entitled to. And if any prisoners have got problems or anything at all, then they come to you to help you out. If you can, you try and help the bullying, because jail's jail. You're always going to get bullies in jail. That's just common sense. But yeah, cut a long story short, it was half alright. I was in a good routine. I was under SO Batty on Deering. I told you I'd do a video mentioning your Batty, so Batty was alright, to be fair. So was Mr. Smith. He was a good guy. And yeah, I was living nice, as nice as you possibly can anyway in prison, especially in old jail, Cat B prison. Got a fearsome reputation, as everyone knows, especially with the screws, and especially with the discipline. And I can honestly say that's kind of died down there a lot now, because we've got a governor now there called Sean Mycroft, who's their #1. He used to be my governor in Mourns when I was there, and now there's been like a big anti-assault teams and that assigned to staff. Everything's recorded. When staff have got to go into cells, they always got to have the body cams on no matter what. And it's put an end to most brutality from the staff, even though I did witness a few when I was down the segregation on good order and discipline. A kid took a bad one called Danny Champion from Grimsby area. He jumped on the net and chucked at food, CM called CM Jono, and I seen it from the flap. They put the handcuffs on him, hit him on the side of the chin and knocked out, and so about 7-8 of them stamping off his head. He must have been knocked out for about 50 minutes. They waited for about half an hour before paramedics come. And then yeah, when paramedics come and IMB come, they says you got the footage, says oh we dropped it when we were restraining, but that's what they do. Usually when any prison staff give anyone any violent beatings in prison, you know what I mean, it's always very funny how they lose the body cam evidence, or they always lose some sort of CCTV, because there's no CCTV in cells. That's how they obviously get away with it. And when you're in there, you're classed as subhuman anyway. 9 times out of 10, the police and the governors are always going to take the side of the officers anyway, so it's an uphill battle, you know what I mean, really. It's just like standing in court and getting your word against an officer's. 9 times out of 10, the judge is always going to take the officers, unless you can prove otherwise on CCTV, as you're well aware. So anyway, but cut that stuff a bit. When I was on there, I got into a bad spell where obviously I got into a few scraps, and I got under security intelligence for drones. They said a lot of drones were coming over to the prison, and they believe it was all from me at the time and what have you, and a lot of stuff anyway was going on, and iPhones were getting found, and what they thought was believed linked to me and all this and that. So there was nothing proven on these matters, but they didn't need to prove anything. They can just straight give you good order and discipline on the intel, the security intel. Now, I was in my cell, bearing in mind that I had everything. I was the PID worker, I was everything. And I'll say it now, yeah. One leading the way called CM Gannon, with about 10 outside security staff. It's called NDT team. They go around all the jails in the country, raiding the cells of everyone who they think is a serious security risk to other prisoners. Meaning you're getting your hands on a lot of contraband, iPhones, drugs, whatever. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's been times in jail when I flew McDonald's over on a drone just for myself and had something to eat. You know, you know what I mean? Boys will be boys. That's how it goes. It's cat and mouse sometimes, as you're aware. And when you're in there, you got no else better to do. And when you're living like a rat, you need to make jail as comfortable as possible as you can, especially in bad circumstances. And that's no bravado. That's straight down the line. Now, when they've come, they've obviously, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, I didn't put up a fight. They didn't grab me, they didn't restrain me. They just says, look, can you walk down to segregation, and we need to process the GOAD, the good order and discipline. So when I walked down to the segregation itself, I've been in there for about 4 or 5 days, whatever, 6 days. I'm on a 14-day review. That means every 14 days I go back up in front of the governor, and he decides if I'm security cleared to go back onto a wing. Yeah, so they was deeming it that obviously I was too influential in the jail, and basically they wanted me to do the full 42 days on good order and discipline, and then looking at terms of a transfer, wherever they send me, probably because it was a security transfer, I probably could have got shanghaied anywhere, I could have got shipped out to Scotland, Wales, wherever. So I was waiting on the news, and then obviously the worst news of your life what comes. One day, yeah, you're reading your book, doing your press ups, you're banged in that cell 24 hours a day, and then all of a sudden you've got a priest there in front of you and said, Brett, just to let you know your dad's died. You know what I mean? And obviously me and my dad were brothers. I love my dad more than anything on the earth, and anyone that knows me, I've always wrote it out with him. And back in his day, my dad was a very rough man, top man, and then he had his demons, and when he went for his demons, he always liked to stay with me when we knew he was safe. You know what I mean? Because anyone would come across my dad, I'd there and then just end them on the street like anyone would for the fathers if you're not a coward. So then a long story short, when the priest told me these words, as soon as he mentioned these words to me, I'll say this without sounding a bit of a nutcase, but I felt shivers and tingles go through all over my body. I've got the Bible at the side next to me, and I flicked the page, and obviously I was on Psalm 22 with David, with green pastures. And it was a sign, and I prayed to God, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I'm gonna be straight up on you. I have never ever in my life ever shed a tear in jail. Even from the age of 14, getting locked up nights never bothered me. I couldn't give a shit. I couldn't get out. Well, girlfriends and missuses and whatever, and shit on your mind. But I've never shed a tear. But that day on this sentence, I shed a tear. Safe to say that. Maybe I shed 1,000. Who knows? But that's my personal business in that cell. And I tell you one thing, and I was left down there with no compassionate grounds to serve out 42 days in a box, basically practically a police cell. A dome within a dome. You only get 10 cells in a segregation unit, especially in one in all anyway. And yeah, sent me a bit, you know what I mean, a bit gas. Still is now, as you can tell. You know what I mean? It does something to you anyway. When I got the moment that my dad died, something in me died, but then something else was reborn. Something 10 times stronger than what I was before. Something's inside me. What was now ready, and now I'm ready for anything. And as you want, I can't be chewed. Like on my last video, I was a bit hyped up there, going on this. I like to stay chilled and relaxed, and I like to move seriously. I'm not messing around no more. I'm not fucking around. So a long story short, when that news was put to me by the priest, when I finally started pulling through and getting my head around things, then I just went against the system. I ended up kicking my toilet off down at segregation, ripped it out. The pipes what was connected to the wall, I've ripped all the wall out, ripped everything, destroyed it. They moved me into another cell, destroyed that, and I said I'm just going to keep on destroying these cells till you ship me out and do whatever. Shit and piss all over me. Covered my cell in shit and piss, covered my cell in shit and piss. Went on dirty protest. They were giving me like 500, 600 pound fines every day for destroying all the cells down the block. Now, when I was down there, obviously I got word that Decca landed into jail because one of my pals, Mac from Scarborough, kid, he come down and he said, "I've seen your mate as I've been going down to visit." And I said, "Who?" Decca, heggie, and I went, "Nah." I says, "He's not in this jail, bro." I says, "He's not in this jail. He's not going to last in here. You can't put him in here." I said, "He's a bacon, isn't he?" And they went, "No, well, apparently he's in for inciting racial hatred, about speaking up about things on the internet, things, an ideology what Prime Minister Keir Starmer doesn't deem suitable. So they did him for inciting racial hatred." but that was only one, because my pal Little Jim Feet and a few of us, and my pal Jason Smith, who what wing Decca was on, because Decca was on the induction wing. Now, this is the biggest question of them all. Was he a nonce? What wing was he on? He was on the induction wing. Now, the induction wing's mixed. You got 50% paedophiles, 50% rapists, 50% granny bashers, and then you've got 50% who are normal people, and about 20% deadheads who are just terrified to come off there, who owe money and scared to death, grassers and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? People who's put statements in on other people in prison before and they can't leave that wing. It's like a safety wing because it's induction. But I know a few kids who are on there who are not nonsense. But if anyone can back me up who's been in old jail, 60% on the induction wing in Hull, if anyone can back me up, are Roans. And they don't hide it, it's open. You know what I mean? To tell you, yeah, I'm in for sex crime, I'm in for sexual assault, I'm in for rape, I'm in for this. Because there's loads of them. There's loads of them. And it's the only jail in the country and in the UK what I know what does it anyway. And I think everyone else can back me up on this as well. You know what I mean? Who's ever been there. And people are terrified more than what to do up to them for the beatings what you get off the screws. And it's simple as that, but a lot's changed anyway. It's a bit more mellowed out. So, but anyway, like the likes of me, I can't even walk out on the landing there. As soon as I land on the induction wing, I've got to go behind the door, my food gets brought to my cell, and then I get moved over to the other side for fear of attacks on sexual related convicts. And everyone knows that. So, once these 42 days was completed, they never ended up shipping me out. I thought there was, but they said, no, we know you want to ship out, and then you'll be happy to do what you want. Because I was happy to go to Lincoln, I was happy to go to London, I was happy to go anywhere, Edinburgh, Scotland, any jail in the UK. I've done 27. I've done about 27 different jails now all around the UK. I know every single major man in every single city in the UK. I know every single man in Scotland, I know every single man in Wales. Anyone who's worth knowing or into any type of fighting or violence or underworld crime or anyone worth knowing, I know. And that's no shit talk, you all know I do. And that's so I can go anywhere in the city. I know everyone, everywhere in the country. So when I've landed back onto the other side on the wing, I've gone walking down to the line route. When I was on the line, I went to the gym. I went to the gym, and when I've gone to the gym, I've ended up being in the gym, and I've gone outside to the AstroTurf. Now, where the AstroTurf is, if anyone can back me up about this, if you've been in old jail, you've got like cage vents, but you can see through them. And obviously, I knew Decca was on there, and I knew kid on there, Jason Smith and whatever was on there, and a few other people, Desi and that from all some well-known kids on there. Everyone can ask them, all these people, what I'm about to tell you is the truth and verify my story and whatever. So I thought, well, shout him over, see what the crack is. So I shouted, I went, yo, Decca, heggie, shouted it through the vents. About 20 lads stood back with me, so I told them all to step back and that, because obviously I didn't want him to get intimidated with the number sides of things, because I don't agree with it. I think every man's entitled to a fair fight. I've always said that, especially a fighting man. I don't think people should be getting jumped, you know what I mean, because it's a liberty. You know what I mean? If you can start getting jumped, then when you get jumped, you can't moan about it then, can you? So shouts him over. And I've looked literally, yeah, he's little stocky thing walking over. He's like, hey up Brett, mate, I like you, mate, you're alright, pal. He says, God, he says, I've been telling everyone, and everyone what were coming to the event was saying, Decca's here, yeah, he's telling everyone how he's right good pals of mine and all this and that, yeah, and you know what, I'm not a prick, you get me? So I was like, before first initial stage, I was half alright with him. I said, what's happening, Decca heggie? I said, what they got you in here for? I said, how many kids you shagged now? You know, just to keep pissing. He like went red in the face, looked at me in my eyes for about a split second. He went, I am, mate. He says, do you all just try and stitch me up, Brett, mate? He says, they always have, they always will. He says, I'm out for speaking about what's happened with, let me say this word because obviously I don't want to antagonise things, and I know people don't like it saying, so I'll say summer diets. And so he said, I've been speaking out about the summer diets and all this and that. So he says they've done me for inciting racial hatred. He says, but obviously I've been arrested for a couple other things as well, but he never told me what there was then at the time. But obviously I'm a smart man, so I kind of gathered and I've heard things. So I went, oh yeah. I says, what? I said, have they done you for a sex crime as well? What you trying to blend on? And straight to his face, yeah. And do you know what? He had a laugh and a joke, and I couldn't knock him. You know what I mean? He come across some fucking decent guy, to be fair. You know what I mean? But like I said, master manipulators do. So when he was speaking like that, oh, that was it. He said he wanted to have a rematch with Danny Christie, and he says, and for me to fight Paul on there and do it on his platform. This is what he was saying to us, and all four of us, and it all met massive numbers. So it just spate a conversation. Everyone listening, I says, yeah, come on. I says, when you get out Decca, get in touch with me, and I says, and we'll sort something out, bro, if you want. I said, no problem. You know what I mean? And then after I said that, obviously I had to do some digging to see what it was in for, because I'm not going to talk to anyone if I know that they're on fucking bail or remand for any nonce offences. I mean, it's just straight on. You can't talk to anyone. If anyone's ever made a statement when any prison heads, then you're a grass. You're in the same level as a nonce. And anyone who's been arrested or remanded for a sex crime, then obviously there's usually no smoke without fire, even though a lot of people probably have been stitched up over years. But at that minute at time, that's it, you're blacklisted, aren't you? Simple as that. There's no going back. And yeah, if you're about it, if you're about that life, you're about that certified, especially in jail, you got to act on it, haven't you? So I thought to myself, I'll do some digging and yeah, see what the crack was. So I did a bit of digging and what have you, and apparently, I'm not going to say names, I'm not going to get in trouble. We had one of the screws on the take, yeah? One of the screws were on the take. They were bringing in, doing what they were doing for me and the people. And a long story short, he had access to the main computer and what have you. And yeah, it were there highlighted, obviously, sexual assault on a minor. What it was pending. But apparently, obviously, I think in his defence, he's saying he's gone to cuddle this girl and he's grabbed her inappropriately. This young girl's said something, and apparently they said everyone's stitching him up. I don't know, and I'm not even going to get into it with aspects of the case because that's their private business, whoever it is. But he said he were on about Danny. He just kept on going on about Danny through the vent, mainly stitching him up. This and that. So along my pal Jason Smith and my pal little Jim Feetham, who lives next to Tyson Fury and Morecambe, the Feetham family. Tyson, I mean, Decca broke down and told him in the jail. He says, look, he says, they're trying to stitch me up for this, I've not done it. They try it with this, saying I'm wrong and all this and that. Blah, 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 blah. And he openly admitted it to him, and no one did note to him. No one had the ass to do it at the time. Then obviously it got back to me. So I passed the message and I says, you tell that bacon. I says, he thinks he can come into this jail and know what happened to him and think he's got a pass. And he has to fight me, it's simple as that. I says, let's get it on. And then sent the message to him. There was no reply at first. And then obviously a couple of spits and bats come back saying, well, he's apparently supposed to say he's not just going to stand there if I swing and what have you, even though he was on the induction wing. Now they gave Decca the laundry job on the induction wing. They put him on the laundry, and when he was working on there, as you can imagine, it's all over the internet, he's supposed to be a nonce. So a few kids started calling him a nonce, or the normal lads on there, you're fucking bacon, you're this and that. A kid called Daps from Scarborough, a skinny ginger kid, but he's alright. Coming with Capo's pal, some of my mates from them ways. And he stuck it on Decca and he said, well, fight now, Decca, I'll fight now. One-on-one now, let's go in laundry. And Decca said to him, I'm a proper fighting man. He says, you don't want none of this with me, all that type of talk with him. And he says, you're not a fighting man, you're a fucking nonce. He says, it's all come out now, what you're in for. You're a bacon. And the screws got on top. Mr. Young, Mr. Youngie, who runs a lot of the work there on induction wing, kind of split them up and what have you. But not come of it. It was just all smoke and mirror stuff. Odd man would call him a nonce, this and that, and then Decca would flare up to him and what have you. Yeah, whatever, fucking this and that, but there'd be no punches swung. Now, VPs, what's I class as nonsense, which he must have been, can sometimes bump into like the mains or like us on the B, C and D wing on the other side. If you like go to the library, if you go to the chapel, if you're coming back from healthcare on the line route, you'll bump into them on their shift pattern. You can cross tables at these little sections, but you'd only get a chance like once a week or once every couple of weeks. Visits, they put them in the visiting room with you where there's no space. That's how you end up clocking onto these people. They walk down to chapel, Friday prayers for the Muslims, Sundays for us. They have to get blended into you at some point. But then it's up to you if you want to lose all your canteen shit, if you want to start on-sighting one of them, because there's no getting out of it. Everything's on camera. You know what I mean? So once you start on-sighting one of them, you're going to lose all your shit. You're going to get 42 days losses of everything. And then you start going to get like a bit of CC or a bit of block and all that shit. But if you're willing to take it, then yeah, you've practically got a free pass, because the threshold in prison's a lot different than outside. Outside, I could walk to shop here or pub, slap someone in the mouth, and that'd be me doing 10 months in jail. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, if I'm in jail and I punch someone in the fucking mouth and his lips bust, you don't get nothing. I might get lost of canteen for a week. You know what I mean? You have to take someone's eyes out, nose off, and ears off to even get an outside charge. And even if you do get an outside charge, you're only getting a couple of years anyway. And that's for, listen, I've seen lads get them across gargling and only get a few years in jail. You know what I mean? 2 years top. So yeah, the threshold's pretty high when you're in there, and anyone can back me up on that. So as I've gone to the library, I gets into the library, goes in there, big Vinnie Bennett and all that with me there from Tottenham. Some of my pals there, Jamaican born British blacks, good lads, big fellas, and I've just waited. I put me back, and I seen him coming down the side of the line, and I thought, listen, jail's all about surprise tactics, and if I would have turned up to him face to face and gone, yo, this is happening now, I wouldn't have even been able to chuck a punch, because the screws would have just been on me, and I'm watched 24/7 as it is. So I put me back here to the library, and obviously as he's come like strolling in to get his like weekly books and what have you, because he used to have his book on his jail cell, the governor book, what he had, and he used to keep it on there and start bragging to everyone, making himself like a dickhead. But he didn't realise it's obviously put a target on his back, on it, and put a trophy on his back, and I've took his trophy off him. So I waited here, all about that. As soon as he stepped in like that there without no warning, bang, left hook. Everyone knows left hook. My left hook's my signature punch. Whoever I hit with that, I hurt, no matter what. And I've got a left hook on me. People might slag me off, people might hate me, you know what I mean? But listen, in their own hearts, everyone respects me. You know what I mean? I'm not blowing no trumpeters to do. The people, if you ever hear anyone say any bad energy about me, put it this way, the same people that say this, if you ever hear anything, the first people that shake my hand when they see me. I walk everywhere. I walk every main road in Doncaster. I do what I want to do. I walk and I say what I want to say. And if anyone's got a problem, then get out of the car and we swing. That's how we roll. We're pit villagers. We're Stainforth boys. We're Doncaster boys. That's how I roll. I always have. You know what I mean? And I always will. To the day I die. I'm a bang. Well, let me get this phone here. Getting a bit carried away on the video. So anyway, I've hit him with the left hook. When I hit him with the left hook, it was a good shot. I didn't drop him. He just went flying to the side of the table where it was. I've kind of charged him. I've speared him with my hands, and he's gone over the side of the table. And as he's gone over the table, he's like been onto like one knee, and he's kind of like gone like up with his hands and like chucked like a little punch motion up in the air, but it's not gone anywhere. And then bang, same again, flat on under the nose, bang, blood everywhere. Then the librarians ran out the back. What's going on? What's going on? All the prisoners have gone back because no one wants to get in the way of me and him having a bang bang anyway. And but guys, I'm not putting myself up. I was like 3 times his size. I was over him. I was just pounding him like that, and then all of a sudden the screws ran, parvered me inside of the head, hits me in the back of the head with a fucking baton, one inside of the leg. I've ended up wrestling on the screw there, and the screw saying, "Do not assault staff, do not assault staff." And stepping up like that, and fucking, yeah, tempers are high. I grabbed one of the scruff, chucked the screw over the table, and then he's got up, you fucking prick, with his mouth busting, nose busting, what have you. And I says, "Listen, you're a fucking nonce." I says, "You're messing around with children, so we don't put up with that, bro. You know what I mean? Not on here, not on my watch." And then he just shut up. He just walked up back at the library, his hand holding his mouth. and his nose and what have you. And then I've got about 15 screws on me, and like, right, and you're going back down block. Puts me down block like that, and yeah, just rode it out, and that was it, to be fair. Oh, and then obviously he robbed one of my pals from up northeast, well-known kids who one of my mates were telling you about earlier on my last video yesterday, because I can't be asked chucking names and that everywhere. I just thought, I had a few beers yesterday, but he robbed one of my pals off from northeast and what have you. Decca took a load of sheets of spice. What he would build £1,800, and there was a hit on him to get one of them on the wing. Now, after I've had that do with him as well, there was nowhere for him to go, because everyone knew on the jail and every wing I could get anyone touched. So about 4 men went to him on the wing and said, yo, if Brett puts a hit on you, we're going to take it on you, straight to his face. And he was like, what mate, all shot through. So they gave him the pid worker job, thinking he was safe under most watch eye. And that the prison officers believed he was in a direct threat and a direct danger after me giving it him that day in library, and plus him ripping off these other kids as well with some sheets. So they come and grabbed him unexpectedly about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the outside team, and they sent him to HMP Durham. Now, while he's been in Durham, I've heard he's been done up there, but I don't know how true it is, because I ain't seen it and I ain't witnessed it. I don't know, and I've just been speaking to you nice and calm and direct here, guys. And listen, forget all that anyway, but I just thought I told you I'd do a story about it all, and that was that really. Yeah, but as far as the fight was concerned, guys, I didn't even get out of first gear. You know what I mean? I'm not asked. You know what I mean? So I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what point to prove to anyone there. I know I've got a point to prove to myself and to my family and to my dad and to my nana and granddad who are not here no more. Don't forget, I've got no one on my dad's side family who's with me now no more. You know what I mean? No one. I've got an uncle, my dad's brother, who's sectioned for life, who's very mentally ill, but he's a very nice man. He's never allowed out. And I've got my nana and granddad who's dead, who died. And I've got my dad what's died. You know what I mean? I'm a lone wolf. But by the time I'm finished, I'll leave my mark on this world. You know what I mean? No matter what. And I'm going to be humble, and I'm going to stay humble all the way through as much as I can. And I'm going to change a new leaf, and it takes time. I'm just going to crack on with it. No bravado, no cockiness. And I'm just going to let them do talking in the ring. And I hope I can get matched up with some of the big fights coming up soon. And I hope I can. I'm gonna do it this week. I'm gonna get in touch with Dave Feldman and Andy Bakewell, and I'm gonna shake off a warm-up fight very soon, and then a step up, and then yeah, hard fights coming up, and the bigger the name, the better it is. And like I said there, Mickey, Terrell, anyone, if that opportunity is there and anyone's pulling out on anyone, I'll be the first one to jump in that circle and fight. You know what I mean? I'd love to fight Mickey for the world title. I'd love to, because that'd give me the dedication to train hard as I can for 12 weeks at a time before I go into it. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I've got to come back, and I've got to do the business on rematch and correct my business with Rob, even though I did what I did. And yeah, the ADHD medication sent me a bit wappy that day, but end of the day, no excuses. A fight's a fight, results are results. So I'll come back, correct my shit. Yeah, that fight was ever in front of me. The bigger the name, the better it is. The bigger they are, the harder the fall. I'm not asked. Look at my last 11 fights. You know what I mean? They've all been 3 times my size. And I'm 6'3", 19 clan. You know what I mean? So no one's picking. There's no bullies here. You know what I mean? I'm ready to do the business, and if I do, I do. You know what I mean? If I don't, I don't. You know what I mean? But I'll give it my best, and I'll fight, and I turn up. And when I say I'm there, I'll be there. And it's simple as that. Fair play. Let's get on. Let's get this done. So hopefully we're going to do big things 225, because 224 was an emotional deep year for me. But whatever don't kill you makes you stronger. And here we are. And listen, thank you very much for everyone that stuck tight with me and being loyal with me all the way through. I much appreciated it, and I do. And I thank you for your genuine support, and I'm just going to crack on being humble. And a lot of children and that watch this as well, guys, so you know what I mean, I've got to start being a role model and that now, you know what I mean, and start picking it up. And God willing, all I want to do is I want to be quiet and be a good family man myself, settle down, you know what I mean, married, children, bang. So I want to do, I just crack on with my boxing sports. I've done enough. I've rode the tiger on my life. There's nothing else I can ride. I've done it all, you know what I mean. No matter how bad anyone ever thought they were, please believe me when I'm telling you, Cam, I tell you I'm 1,000 times better, you know what I mean. But anyway, enough of that, guys. Love yous, God bless yous, and thank you very much anyway for hearing it. I just thought I'd clarify a few things up. Much love and God bless, you know what I mean, and thank you very much anyway, guys. God love yous.